Warning: the following broadcast may contain examples of individual freedom and stories of people who do not always conform with society. Individuals who listen are at risk of having independent thoughts, and they may engage in risky behaviors in pursuit of a really good time. Listeners of all ages should be aware that language used in this broadcast can cause feelings of rebellion and increase the risk of living life on two wheels and a road.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Two Wheels and a Road, where we're exploring the great roads of North America one ride at a time. To help guide us on this journey, I've got Cowboy here to my right.
Hi, everybody.
And Wayne here to my left.
Hello.
I'm Mo, and let's dive into today's ride. Today, we're in for a great one as we head up the mountains to visit Big Bear Lake. And because riding is always more fun if you do it with friends, we have a special guest coming along for the ride, Orange County Harley Davidson General Manager, Mario Vindeni.
Mario Vindeni. It's good to have a manager of a Harley Davidson dealership that rides a Harley Davidson.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Welcome, Mario. This is going to be a great day.
And on top of it, Mario is a great guy.
Yeah,
he
good.
is fun to hang out
good
with.
family guy.
Yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. Orange County Harley Davidson has been a dealership in the Orange County area for at least the last 40 years. Originally located in Santa Ana with another location in San Juan Capistrano, the dealership later settled into its current location in Irvine.
You know, who is it? Bruce Peasley has a San Juan Capistrano Harley Davidson jacket. If I remember.
Oh, really?
Some of the old timers around have the original.
It's a nice looking jacket, actually.
Yeah.
From its beginning, Orange County Harley has always been supportive of riders and has sponsored a Harley Owners Group chapter for the last 35 years.
So almost since the very beginning, then.
Almost since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
Yep, a riding history. In 2021, the dealership was purchased by the Wise Auto Group and became part of a family of dealerships that include Death Valley Harley in Victorville, Coronado Harley, Temecula Harley, Yuba City Harley, Shasta Harley, and Reno Harley Davidson.
I think we've been to most of those, haven't we?
I think so. I actually broke down up by the Shasta one. So thank you to Shasta.
Now, also, just point out that their sponsorship got them an award for the most miles by a chapter a couple of years back.
Oh,
Yeah. That's
So-
pretty awesome. To show his riding spirit, Mario will join us on our ride today, which will start at the Anaheim Starbucks off Santa Ana Canyon Road. It's a great starting location with a big parking lot, close access to the 91 freeway, and we can grab a snack or a cup of coffee before the ride.
Caffeine in the morning.
That's right. Get us going. Once we get it,
Cigars.
once we get going, it will be all freeway as we head across the Inland Empire on the 91 to the 60 and then the 10 through San Gregonio Pass and past the windmills as we drop down to the desert floor.
Past the windmills.
And that's going to be all wide open traffic. You know it is. I mean, the 91 is synonymous for wide open traffic.
Yeah.
It's in the morning time, we might get lucky. So it's a familiar ride east, but this time we'll head north on Highway 62 and climb up through the Morongo Valley. It's a nice ride with some sweeping turns, and you'll get some relief from the heat and wind as we crest the top and then drop down to Yucca Valley. On the north end of town, we'll wind through some boulder-lined twisties on our way to the old film location of Pioneer Town and a favorite of ours, Pappy and Harriet's.
Come on with a cheeseburger.
That's right.
There it is.
Another great spot for a cheeseburger.
After some good food, we're back on the road through the desert, circling around to the eastern side of the San Bernardino Mountains and to the northern approach up the straight, flat Highway 18, past the cement factory, and then into the twisties and some very tight switchbacks up the old mining road to the top, where we'll see the valley and Baldwin Lake.
See, what's cool about that is you stop in at Pappy and Harriet's, you get a food coma,
Yeah.
and then you ride uphill, off camber, lefts and right.
And switchback.
It's
Be on your
great.
game.
And some of those twisties are really tight. So the switchbacks.
Yeah, they'll test you.
Yep.
Yeah,
it
it is a good time.
Definitely will test you. Once down from the crest, we'll take a slight detour down and back out and back on the old Holcomb Valley Road, the paved section, to see if we can catch sight of the old mining town of Double. I don't know if any of the towns left anymore.
Not much.
So after our stop, we'll keep riding around the old lake, Lake Baldwin, until we get to the north side of Big Bear Lake for a nice stop and view across from the North Shore Lookout Point.
This is where we talk about water. We have a lot of water nowadays.
Yeah, well,
I flew over that a couple of days ago, and it was full.
That's good to hear.
It's very full, and it's really going to be pretty. Back on the bikes, we'll keep going along the North Shore. It's beautiful views all the way through the pine forest, along a nice twisty road, all the way to the small town of Fawnskin. Past the dam, we'll climb up more twisties along the rim of the World Highway, where you can see all the way across the Inland Empire on the valley floor below.
Yep.
It's a great place for a stop at one of the scenic viewpoints for photos or just to take in the scenery.
Take in this. It's a beautiful view.
You know, you see that school up there, and imagine the kids that get to go to that school. This is what they see every day.
That's right.
What
Rim
an
of the world,
amazing-
Rim
yeah.
of the World High School, isn't it? Or
Is
school?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After our stop, it's even more twisties on the way down to a quick gas stop and ride home over the freeways, which now will probably be filled with traffic.
Oh, yay.
So splitting, more lane splitting. It's 243 miles up and over some of the prettiest areas of Southern California. Also in today's episode, we're going to talk over a little history from our route, including what town was built as a movie set, who killed the last grizzly bear in the San Bernardino Mountains,
Wow.
and what lake was built to provide water to citrus groves in Redlands.
Who thinks a grizzly bear is out here? You know what I
I
mean?
know.
Yeah.
It used to be a lot of them. In the end, I'll join you back here with some notes from the road. All the maps from today's ride are available to download at twowheelsinaroad.com. You can find our channel on YouTube, Rumble, or download the audio version at Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. And if you like our show, don't forget to follow, or even better, share with a friend. Now it's time for a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk a little route history. Welcome back to Two Wheels in a Road, and now we're ready for a little route history. I am really excited about this one because, one, Big Bear is a great ride, but there is a ton of history. I had to cut myself off after a little while because
And we've been hearing about it for days.
Indeed, days, yes.
So let's dive right into it because we've got quite a bit. So the first thing is I thought it would be good if we orient ourselves a little bit. And if you look at the map that's up there now, these are kind of the key points. So off to your right, down in the desert, and that highlighted is Pioneer Town. So it's down in the desert. And the green area are all the mountains, the San Bernardino Mountains. So we are going to go around and then up from the north. A couple of things you always see is Big Bear Lake, which you always see today. Well, the other one that's up there is Baldwin Lake. And Baldwin Lake is the one that's often dry
Right.
on the eastern end of the valley. Now, a place that we probably have not talked about ever is Holcomb Valley.
Correct.
And Holcomb Valley is that area to the north. And you see that it's highlighted there, the very top one. And just below that is a little town that almost nobody has heard of called Belleville.
Right.
And then right to the right of that is another little town called Bairdsville or Double.
Okay.
Okay. So that's kind of the orientation. Fawnskin is there just to the north of the current Big Bear Lake.
Now, is this the Lucerne Valley area as well?
So Lucerne Valley would be kind of to the east, northeast
Okay.
of where we're looking at right
Got it.
here. So,
Now
and
what-
you can see Highway 18 where we come in from the north there
Yep.
on the northern end.
Got it.
So just to orient ourselves just a little bit. So Pioneer Town's a great way to start. There's not a lot of deep history because it's desert. There were Indians living out there forever, but really, it was started by the film industry. Hollywood started Pioneer Town.
Sure.
And after World War II, there was a kind of a fad. The Westerns became really huge after World War II, and they created all these different kinds of Westerns. John Wayne was in, 100 and some movies?
Yeah.
And probably 80 of them were in the 50s.
Oh, I mean, when we grew up, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, remember all those?
Oh, absolutely. And so here on this one, it's the Cisco Kid was one of the shows. So the movie studios needed a place where they could film movies, and they needed it to be where there weren't airplanes or cars.
Oh.
So they also had a challenge because the unions said that anything within 30 miles was considered local, but if you're outside 30 miles, then you have to pay for travel. So this presented a challenge, and you'll see later it impacted Pioneer Town. Roy Rogers was key.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, you notice he's right there in the front of this picture. Roy Rogers, Dale Evans were key in starting Pioneer Town, and he was one of the initial investors. This is the groundbreaking photo from when they first started it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool
Look
is
at
that?
the people in there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Originally, they planned to call it Rogerstown, but a member of the Sons of the Pioneers, those are some of the guys that are in these photos too. And some of these groups and people have forgotten about, unless you're really into the old Westerns.
But I remember the Sons of the Pioneers.
Yeah, but you wouldn't unless, like you said, you'd have to kind of have some knowledge on it.
No.
So one of the members of the Sons of the Pioneers wrote a song called Out in Pioneer Town, and they named the town after the song.
Oh, okay.
So that's how, instead of Rogersville, it became Pioneer Town because of the song. So this photo here is the main street when they had first done the main street, and the only building was the land office.
Oh, wow.
And it's an aerial photo. The groundbreaking was September 1st, 1946. So right after World War II, they ran a full-page ad in the San Bernardino paper advertising for anyone who wanted to invest in it. So if you had lived there during that time, you could have bought into Pioneer Town.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your own piece of sand.
People got excited about it. It was it had a lot of potential.
There you go.
So
Westerns were the main thing back then.
It was the big thing, and this was going to be, the movie studios were looking at it. They were going to be filming there.
Right.
So it was a big deal. The Red Dog Saloon, one of the buildings that exists now, and you can go and take pictures on it. The ice cream store, all the buildings in the old town areas were then built along that stretch, and then they started filming. These are some old Western actors, Val Jones and John Hamilton. They were offering local land because as soon as they started filming out there, and again, you're talking travel in the 1950s, so it wasn't like today where you're going 90 miles an hour.
Right.
So people wanted to have places they could stay close by. So they were offering $900 per acre of land.
Wow.
And people were buying up, and because they wanted to build houses close by. And it's not just the actors, it's the cinematographers, it's all the extra, the crew and everybody. They wanted to live where they're going to be working. And so the area was really starting to take off. And here's another one of Roy Rogers and the Sons of the Pioneers at the land office. So in 1948, so this is only 2 years later, the corporation that owned Pioneer Town, and seems a little sketchy, But they decided to put community growth, so the selling the land, building a town around it to support it on the back burner, and they wanted to focus 100% on catering to production companies. And immediately the land sales plummeted.
I was going to say that would a quick way to grab some cash and then 2 years later change direction.
And more, but they were filming, which was great. More than 50 movies and TV series were filmed in Pioneer Town.
Oh, that's good.
And Pioneer Town Post Office is said to be the most photographed post office in the United States.
I read the plaque. There's a plaque there.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a plaque there at the post office.
Yeah. The downfall was that the age of the Westerns, as soon as that was over,
Yeah.
Pioneer Town died, and they neglected to have the land and the town and the community around it. So the instant production stopped, the town died,
Oh,
which is
So-
a shame.
that puts happy trails to you, like Roy Rogers used
Yeah.
to sing. You know,
Thanks for the money.
I
Yeah.
grew up on Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. I remember them. That was great.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So now it's a tourist spot. People will go and see because they want to see kind of where films were made.
Yep.
It does get crowded.
Oh,
So like when we go up there, you got to kind of get there early, and you might get there and there might be a line.
Yeah. Well, I've even gone there on off days by myself, just out riding, and there's always somebody there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a great place to see, and I kind of see that little bit of film history there, which kind of ties into as we get around to Big Bear. It kind of all will tie together.
well, where's Pappy and Harriet's fall into this?
Well, Pappy and Harriet's is outside of the old town. It's not part of the film studio. It's just a bar that they set up after the fact.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, but that's even gotten popular.
oh, it is.
I was there one time, and 2 weeks later, Paul McCartney does a tour or a concert in there for $50 a ticket. There was 300 people.
Wow.
Paul McCartney shows up in Pappy and Harriet's. It's a barn,
Yeah.
you know, and did a concert.
Yeah.
3 hours, I guess.
I always like it because you can sit outdoors.
Yeah.
You know, it's
got
pretty
everything.
casual, and they always can handle a group. So
Yeah.
that's great.
I've never had a bad meal there either.
So a little more, like now we're kind of zooming in as far as our geographical. It's another map, and here I just want to point out you have to the west you have the current Big Bear Lake,
Okay.
and everybody looks at it and thinks, oh, it's a beautiful lake, it's awesome. When we talk about the lake historically, that was not the lake.
Oh, really?
So to the west or east is Baldwin Lake.
Correct.
That was actually the historical lake.
So does that bridge that you don't know? There's a bridge that goes across in between.
That wasn't there.
Okay. What, is that what separated one lake from the other?
Not exactly. So Baldwin Lake is a natural, but they also historically called it seasonal.
Okay.
So it same as now how it dries up in the summertime. It used to back then too.
Okay.
And in the wintertime with a lot of rain and everything, it would get big and it'd be full.
It's kind of a spillway.
But
Okay.
then the rest of the valley was described as a marshy pine forest. So it was wet, but it was also thousands of pine trees all along the valley there. So just to orient ourselves. And two, if you look to the north, that green area, kind of there's a ridge of mountains just north of Big Bear Lake, and you're still in the mountains and it's still green. That is Holcomb Valley.
Okay.
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 And that's very important historically. So we'll get there. It's Big Bear Creek is what actually flowed down, and it was considered one of the starting points of the Santa Ana River.
Okay.
So when people were tracing the Santa Ana River up into the mountains to find the starting point,
Right.
that was one of them. Was the Big Bear Creek starting from Baldwin Lake. And you remember this guy, Benjamin Wilson, from
what do you
Mount Baldy episode, the Chino Hills, the Battle of Chino Hills.
Okay.
He was the guy who was the justice of the peace,
Yes.
who was in the house with the other guy, and he never forgave the other guy for surrendering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it turns out, and I sort of withheld this for this. Benjamin Wilson was General Patton's grandfather.
Oh, no
Oh, really?
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. His daughter, Ruth Wilson, married Pattons on his father's side, who were all refugees from the Confederate Army from Virginia. They moved out and they married, and Benjamin Wilson was a landowner, had thousands and thousands of acres, but he was also justice of the peace and was renowned as pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
He was pretty hardcore. But kind of a neat little thing there. So Benjamin was chasing down horse thieves with a posse of 40 men, and this is in 1845, 1846, around then. And he split them, and he knew the horse thieves had gone over in the Lucerne Valley. He split, and half his group went up through Cajon Pass. And the other half, he wanted to do like a pincer movement. And so the other half, he led up over the San Bernardino Mountains. And they came upon this valley, which was filled with grizzly bears.
Oh, wow.
And he immediately split up his group into 11 pairs of hunting teams. And all 11 came home with bear pelts.
Wow.
Wow, what a shame.
And after they got done with the horse thieves, they went back up there, split up again, and all came home with bear pelts again.
So they were thinning them out. big
And
time.
they named it Bear Valley because of all the grizzlies that were up there. And I guess they were just a ton of them.
Wow.
The 20 or 30 that he killed in that trip were nothing.
Wow.
It was still filled with grizzly bears.
Who would have thought that? Today I would have never thought there was a bunch of grizzly bears up there.
Yeah. So then we get another interesting character, which is William Grizzly Bear Holcomb in 1859. So this is about 15 years later, and it really is not a very populated area. There's, you had the California Gold Rush and you have mining, but it's not like a big boom. William Holcomb decides he's going to go up there. And part of the interesting thing of the history is the struggles they had getting up those mountains. It was a 2-day trip to get from Redlands up the mountain.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I imagine.
So he goes up there, and they're up there in the wintertime. And the area where you were talking about the bridge, Stanfield Cut, I think it's called.
Yeah, Stanfield Cutoff, yeah.
So that area at the time was called Starvation Flats. Because the miners were starving. They were literally starving to death.
Wow.
And so they hired, because William Holcomb was such a good shot, they hired him to go hunt grizzly bear to help feed them. So he headed off into the mountains north of where they were and wounded a grizzly bear and tracked it for 2 days. And at the end, found the grizzly bear, but at the same time discovered that the rocks around where he was at had gold in them. And he went back and filed a claim, and that became Holcomb Valley. Okay. And that was the original gold rush up there where people went crazy, and it was a boom town called Belleville. And it's up in that Holcomb Valley where you don't even go anymore.
Right.
There's no paved roads into Holcomb Valley.
Wow.
And this is why I said that you would be so excited with your Pan American, because there are Jeep trails that go up in there. But you cannot get up there on a paved road now.
Huh.
Okay, so there used to be Belleville. Belleville boomed, and the population got up to 1,500 people living up there, which in the mountains with the snow and as hard as it is to get supplies and everything up there.
Back then. Yeah.
Back then, and to put it in perspective, when they were trying to decide the county seat for San Bernardino, Belleville was considered the front runner.
Oh, really?
And lo and behold, a box of ballots went missing. and
Go figure, right?
And San Bernardino won by 2 votes.
Oh, man.
Thank
Otherwise-
goodness stuff like that doesn't happen today.
No, it's a good
It's a
thing.
good thing we don't have that. I know. Thank goodness for modern technology. By 1861, they'd built a wagon road down the north side of Holcomb Valley to Hesperia and through the Cajon Pass. So they actually, down the backside, they had, which that road doesn't even exist today.
Yeah.
They had a road down, and they could come up with the wagons. It was a pretty rough place, Holcomb Valley was. So population 1,500. In 1862, there were 50 murders in Holcomb
wow.
Valley. So it
Wow.
was so bad. The tree is still there that they called Hangman's Tree.
Wow.
So you can see it if you go out there.
Wow.
That's a tough area.
Yeah. Yeah. It was now part of the problem was, of course, any boom and bust is when the gold runs out. And especially if you're living in a place that has really you can't grow things there.
Right.
The winters can be very, very tough. They talk about there were a few winters where the snow one of them was 16 feet deep.
Oh, wow.
And so it really wasn't conducive to people living and having a town. So the instant the gold ran out, Belleville basically fell apart. And
And the main thing on the menu was grizzly bear.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yum.
Yeah. Yep. So the initial gold rush lasted about 10 years. And then afterwards, once the gold ran out, then the houses started all falling apart. And now I don't even think there are ruins out there. There are a few historical landmarks which you can find, and the Hangman Tree is still out there.
Well, now see, you're right. On my Pan American, I'd like to go up to Belleville, find it, and see some things like that.
Check it out. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Now, there was another kind of mining called stamp mining, where they take the rock and then they put it through this, like in a conveyor belt, up through a big machine in a almost like a mill, and crush the rock and extract the gold. So they did go through stamp mining here, and I'll get into that next. But Holcomb Valley, if you have an adventure bike, highly recommend heading up
And
that
I've been
way.
told that before. There's a lot of 2 tracks on those kind of roads up there that are fun to ride.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost tempted to try it on my Harley if there hasn't been rain.
Okay.
If it's
You
dry
first.
and hard. It's it can't be worse than Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and now if they're nice gravel roads, that's cool.
Yeah, the pictures don't look that.
Don't it?
Yeah, good
maybe-
luck with that.
Yeah.
Let me go first.
Maybe I'll hear about it. You can tell us stories when you get back.
Show us the photos.
So then we run into another guy who we could probably have an entire episode on Elias, and they called him Lucky Baldwin. The stories about this guy, unbelievable. So he grew up in the Midwest. He loaded up his family because of the gold rush. And they went on a wagon train for 5 months and that's how long it took back then. 5 months in a wagon heading across the country. He was the scout for the wagon train. At one point, he got lost and almost starved to death, and a friendly Indian led him back to the wagon train.
Wow.
And that's how he survived. And the wagon train was attacked. He and his family barely survived from the attack. And then, so he arrived in California, and like a lot of things for Lucky Baldwin, it was all about the right time and place. He arrived in California when they were going through ridiculous inflation because you had thousands of people showing up to mine and nobody was providing basic goods.
Oh.
So he got there and he sold his wagon team of horses for something like a 4,000% profit. So he he was able to do that with all of his gear. He sold it, made huge profits. Later on, so he invested his money that he had. And just ended up being very lucky in some of his investments. He decided to take a trip to India. And before he left, he told his bookkeeper, look, if all my stock, I have all this stock in this one mining company, if it drops below this amount, you have to sell it immediately. All right. And he takes off to India. He forgot to give the bookkeeper the key to where the stocks are kept, so he couldn't sell them. He comes back, and it just so happens the stock had dropped below that price, had nearly hit rock bottom, and then they hit gold, and it shot through the roof. And he made in modern day equivalent about $85 million,
Oh
all
my
because
gosh.
he had locked his stocks
Forgot the
in
key.
and
Oh,
forgot
man.
to give him the key. Yeah, so he became incredibly wealthy.
He became lucky.
Yeah. He lived and invested throughout California. We're going to run across him many places that we
Oh,
go. So that's a name to remember, is Lucky Baldwin. And Nevada too. He was big in Nevada. In 1873, he was very positive on Holcomb Valley. And even though they had stopped mining gold there the traditional way, he thought that they could do stamp mining. So he actually bought the rights to a claim, and they call it Gold Mountain. And he built a stamp mine north of Baldwin Lake. And you can see that Holcomb Valley Road that you can ride out, and we will ride out on, is where the stamp mine was.
Okay.
He also was quite the marketing person. So he started telling everybody about Gold Mountain and how fabulous Gold Mountain was. And
Probably before a pick touched
before it ever had any sort of gold.
Yeah.
And so the price went up. He probably made a lot because he sold stocks. And then it turned out that Gold Mountain actually didn't have that much gold. And so the second gold rush at the stamp mine didn't last nearly as long. And what they found is the stamp mine, they did find some gold, but it just wasn't profitable.
Okay.
So that kind of ended. And Bairdstown was the town that kind of popped up right next to the stamp mine. And it was another one of those boom towns. And but then, it didn't last. I think it was less than a year, 8 months.
Oh, wow.
8 months later, it was a boom and bust. And then even later, about 10 years later, in 1899, they built a new stamp mill kind of overlooking the old one. And this wasn't Lucky Baldwin anymore, but they had a new process called a cyanide process that would extract gold from the rocks. And they actually managed to break a little bit of a profit.
Okay.
But they never could find the mother lode. And so eventually that one shut down too. When that second one was around, they called the same town, but instead of Bardstown, it was Double.
Okay.
And that's the town. Again, there's not much left of it anymore, but it was eventually abandoned too.
And that's there to this day, or what's left of it.
Well, I don't even know that there's much left, but the road's out there and they have it marked on the map.
Okay.
So I figured we'd ride out there and
Take a look.
look at the big empty field and
Walk where our ancestors walked.
that's right, and see it. Yeah. So then we kind of circle back to the whole Hollywood thing. So Pioneer Town, they were looking for places they could film. Hollywood was also, a beautiful lake. They were looking for a lake. And so they started filming up by Big Bear.
Okay.
And Roy Rogers, Andy Griffith, you can find old Andy Griffith episodes, and you can recognize the scenery in the background. Once I saw some of these clips online, and you can see Big Bear, and it looks just like Big Bear today. Lassie, this picture you're looking at here is them filming Lassie up at Big Bear Lake. So they started filming up there in 1911. So it was way back in the silent movie days.
Yeah.
They started filming up at Big Bear Lake. So it just kind of that interesting thing that Hollywood had kind of had its fingers in everything. Now we get to the Big Bear Dam. So after the gold rush, after the town of Bardstown disappeared, there was a guy named Frank Brown who was from Redlands, and he was looking for the location of a water reservoir where they could get water to the citrus farmers in the valley down below. Somebody took him on a tour up there, and the Rocky Gorge, where the dam is today, they thought was the most perfect spot for a reservoir they'd ever seen. So they built the original rock dam, and this is the picture that you're looking at. It was 300 feet long, 60 feet high, and held about 25,000 cubic feet of water.
And what year was this?
This was 1885.
Okay. Wow.
So that's when they built the original dam that was up there. And so if you notice that it doesn't have any sort of a cap on the top of the wall,
Yeah.
because a winter storm came along as they were finishing it, and the working crews had to get down the mountain, and so they left it and they never finished it.
Oh.
Huh.
So, but it was functional, and so it was like that for a lot of years. By 1912, they were using, it was not enough water, but it was very successful. So they needed to get more water, and that's when they started the project to build the current dam. And you can see here the current dam being built in 1912, and it was about 300 feet further west. And it's obviously much bigger. You can see people here standing on top of the old dam while they're looking at the new dam being built. When the new dam was finished, it flooded the valley. Over 9,000 pine trees were killed in the floods because it flooded that valley. It used to be all pine trees all the way
Yeah,
up.
that's a forest.
Yeah. In 1923, they added the road to the top of the dam.
Okay.
And that's when you started having people not be on the north side of the lake and start going to the southern side of the lake. Up until then, nobody went to the southern side of the lake.
Wow.
Everybody stayed on the north end where Holcomb Valley and Fawnskin and all that. That's where the road went through. That's where all the activity was. But then once they put the road on the dam, that kind of changed that. And here, so you can still see the old dam is still there. So when the lake level drops enough, when there's a drought, this is in the 1950s, there was a giant drought and the lake level dropped really low. The top of the dam, you can actually walk across
People
it.
are walking across that.
Yeah. So it's still there, and it's about 20 feet below the water normally. It is interesting because the whole thing on why the lake level drops down so much, it's because the lake was built to feed the citrus down in the valley,
Right.
and they have to continue sending the water down because that's its whole purpose.
Yep.
The lake wasn't built for all the homes around the lake.
Boating and
It's-
the pontoons and the
something to keep in mind there. It's Fawnskin is so again, like I said before, most of the activity was on the northern side of the lake, and there was the town, and there's that cool old hotel and everything that's in that Fawnskin, the downtown area,
yes.
which is really neat. But it's also kind of abandoned.
Yeah.
And once they switched, it's kind of like the Route 66 story.
Yeah.
Once they changed the road and all the development started on the southern end of the lake, then Fawnskin started to die.
Yeah.
And they just didn't get the traffic coming through there that they used to have. So, yeah, kind of an interesting thing how it's progressed and how the valley's changed so much
gosh,
over all the years.
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right. Well, with that, it's time for a quick break, and then we'll be back on our first check-in from our
That's a lot
ride.
of good history.
Welcome back to Two Wheels in a Road, and we are out here on our Big Bear adventure. It's been a great ride this morning. Welcome to Mario.
Welcome,
Mario.
welcome, Mario.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Pleasure to be here. It's been great so far.
It's a
So
great
far.
ride with you.
Yeah, we're excited about today. Excited that you could join us. It should be a good time.
Absolutely.
And Mario's a writer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's in the
Oh, yeah.
program. Ain't no doubt.
Thank you so much.
Right away, when you get a GM at Orange County Harley Davidson and you have a GM that rides, we got excited.
Yeah.
I know just a place to take them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And I promise it's a round trip. We aren't just heading off.
It's going to end one way or the other. Is that what you're telling me?
We are up here in the distance there, and you see some off-road vehicles coming up. But you see
What's up, guys?
Lake Baldwin,
There we go.
which has a little bit of water in it, but it's kind of dry. So very scenic. And then Holcomb Valley is behind these hills. We'll get some drone video of it, but you can see the remains of the old stamp mine right up here on the hill.
Uh-huh.
And right here in this little valley, that is completely empty is where the town of Double used to be.
What was it called again?
Double.
Double, huh?
Yeah, Double and Bairdesville. Bairdstown? Bairdstown. I think it's Bairdstown.
I think so.
Yeah. So over the years, over the last 150 years, there actually was 2 towns that were there for gold mining. It's kind of interesting because nothing's left.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's nothing. You could just guess because of the clear-cut brush, and that's probably about the only reason you can guess besides looking at a map and knowing generally where it's at.
Well, driving up here with those switchbacks, I can see why everybody got out of here on this road. They were serious.
A little aggressive.
It was a great ride up here. So we started out in Anaheim at the usual at the Starbucks
That nobody went to.
Or the bakery next door. I mean,
bakery.
we're not technical on that.
Yeah, one or the other. And then jumped on the freeway, and it was a little gray, cloudy.
Yeah.
It wasn't, wasn't crystal clear until we got inland a little bit, and then you get past the June gloom.
Yeah. Well, it went from gray cloudy to brown cloudy almost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When that wind picked up that dust,
Yeah.
Yeah. So ride through the Inland Empire, 60, nice, very nice, hazy. So we couldn't get. I kept trying because with our Salton Sea episode, we couldn't see the mountains.
Right.
And now today we couldn't either. So they were all mist covered. So we're still trying.
Right.
We promise you really do get a good view of the mountains. And one of these days we'll get it on camera. So then went down, dropped down in the desert, and all of a sudden it was getting warm.
Yeah.
It was 90?
Yeah.
90?
Well, maybe it was getting up there.
Yeah, and it was relatively early. They're going to hit 100 today.
Yep.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And then that's where we went off on the 62, and then that nice little climb. And I love that the little twisty section where you're going through those twisties in as you're climbing up to Morongo Valley.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
it's short, and that's a lot of the nice parts of today's ride. They aren't super long. It's not like you're out here all day. But you get nice little patches, 10 miles,
And
5 miles.
And the
of
roads
just-
are good roads now. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
construction on them. I remember a couple years ago, they had construction on them. I'm glad that fly is bothering
Yeah,
you. Not me now.
I think he got scared of you and came to me.
So we got up over Morongo Valley, had a quick stop for gas. It was a little too hot, and so we decided the best thing to do was to keep on going until we got to altitude, because then it's going to cool off, which would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Went over to Pioneer Town,
Yep.
and because we left early, we got there before they opened.
Yeah.
So we didn't stop like we had planned. We'll stop here in town, and that's the nice thing.
And
we can play
a
it
shout
by ear.
out to remember, too, if you pull into Pioneer Town, there's loose gravel in that,
There is.
parking
Yes.
lot.
Thank you for showing us where that is. That was very much appreciated.
I was like, whoa, sliding in.
Yeah, it
Coming
was,
in hot.
Yeah.
it was more even than loose gravel up there, close to Pappy and Harriet's. It's
Yeah.
that's sand.
Yeah,
That's-
It's
That's where you
official.
went right there.
Yeah.
I think you missed that, but yeah.
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 That's definitely a danger. Look out. Took some pictures and everything, walked around a little bit there, and then had that nice ride, did a U-turn because I missed the turn.
What's that, old swamp lady or old lady?
Old Woman Spring. I
Old
think it
Woman
was.
Spring.
I'm
Springs
curious if
Road.
anyone knew the story behind that.
No.
Not
really
one
curious.
I admit to, no.
Right?
Yeah. No, we might have. Yeah, I'm not even.
Where'd that come
Yeah,
from?
yeah, let's not go there.
No, we're just. I'll leave that one. I'm
Moving
gonna let it
on.
lie. So, and then the Lucerne Valley,
Yeah.
which was beautiful.
Yep.
I love crossing the desert like that, up over the hills, and you can kind of see the mountains growing off to your left,
Right.
and then we're tracking alongside, and you can imagine those stagecoaches coming
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
same
Sure,
path.
And there's nothing for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a long
That's
time.
a good 30, 40 miles.
Of nothing, right?
Yeah.
Just wide open
Yeah,
spaces.
just wide open.
Yep. That's where you kick back, lean back, feet on the highway pigs, and let her roll.
Yeah, that's where that backrest comes in.
Except for the highway patrolman that was sitting there waiting
Take
for us.
your word for it.
Yeah, the highway patrolman come around that corner.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Everybody was stopping almost.
Yeah, nice and slow for the highway patrol. So then we made the left-hand turn and came up the 18, and that's what we started off with, is talking about those twisties. Is when you come up that side, it's really pretty mellow, and it isn't as long of a climb as coming up the front, or where we'll go down later. But there are a couple switchbacks.
Oh boy,
that are switchbacks with a climb, and so you really have to be kind of on your game to make sure.
I wouldn't call it a beginner switchback either.
No,
No, not
Because
really.
you got oncoming traffic coming the other way.
Yeah.
So you got to really stay in your lane, and you're climbing once again.
And choose your gear wisely.
Yeah.
First-hand knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
First gear is a good one. For that one.
Always a safe bet.
Yeah. So, but then a very pretty ride up through those, switchbacks and everything coming up, and you get some views of the valley. You start climbing into the pine trees, and then you crest over, and then you see Baldwin Lake. We haven't seen Big Bear Lake yet.
Not yet. We're getting there.
No, but we're getting there. So,
Yep.
so it should be.
What's your thought process so far, Mario?
You know what? It's wonderful. It's just great being back out. I haven't done a lot of recreational riding, as I think I've told you guys. A lot of just city riding, and this is just so great. I turned off the music. I'm just in my helmet, enjoying the quiet time and reflecting and enjoying. And those, I don't know the name of the road, but there was a sign saying Joshua Tree Park to the right, and we made that left.
Yeah.
Right? We turned to the left. And that, I think, was my favorite road so far, because I was raised in the desert. So
Yeah.
Okay.
just being out there again with those beautiful rock formations and giant blue skies, it just kind of puts me in a friendly, comfortable space.
In a zen place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
100%. So
I like
it's just
it.
it's been great so far, guys.
What a recap.
Well, keep it in your mind as we
Okay.
go through the day, because at the end, when we do the recap back in the studio, we'll want to know what your favorite road
Okay,
was
okay.
or
Yep.
stretch of road over the whole day. So we'll highlight that.
Okay.
So keep it in mind. That
I
might
will.
be it, or there might be another one up
Could
ahead.
be.
And always the amazing, he brought up the Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the area of the Joshua Tree lives.
Yes.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yes.
They're beautiful. All right, so we are going to pack it up, and then in a little bit down the road, not too far, when we're at Big Bear Lake, we're going to check in again. So,
All right.
until next time.
See ya.
There you go.
Welcome back to Two Wheels in a Road. And here we are, just actually not that much further down the road, but what a scenery change. Beautiful Big Bear Lake
With water.
with water.
With a
And
lot of water.
Temperature
it.
change,
Yeah.
scenery.
Cool. It's not uncomfortable wearing the flannel. It's probably in the 70s up here.
Yep.
Very nice. So when we checked out at our last stop, well, you could see Baldwin Lake in the distance.
Right.
It
Not
looked-
much there.
Not much there.
Right.
It's kind of empty, kind of dry. And you had said this is your you haven't been up here in years.
I haven't. It's been 15 years, and I passed through that time, so I haven't spent that much time here, and it's just beautiful. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's always good to discover new roads.
Indeed.
You
I
know?
mean, you've got this lake here for the summer. You right behind us. There's the ski trails. I mean,
Yeah,
this is just
beautiful.
awesome country.
And you couldn't order a more perfect day. This
Oh
is
my
just
gosh, this
fantastic.
is great. And it's the first time I've ever seen water on the other side of that divide.
Yeah.
Through that.
In
Yeah.
It
10
is.
years.
It's chock full. So kind of leaving off when we were talking at our last stop, I was talking about how the nice thing about this ride is it's short little bursts of really cool roads.
Yeah, of
They
enjoyment.
they aren't long. It's not like you're going on 50 miles of twisties.
Right.
But it's a few miles. So that ride around from where Double was,
Yep.
then around Baldwin Lake, that's really pretty.
Pretty.
And then we made a diversion since Pappy and Harriet's was closed when we were there because we got there too early. We actually went across Stanfield Cut, which was Starvation Flats
Yep.
back in the mining
And why was
days,
it called Starvation Flats?
Because the miners were starving.
Yep. Go figure,
I
right?
know, right? Came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then we went across the cut, went to the downtown, to the village, to Big Bear Village, and just had a great lunch. We went to the Boneyard.
Yeah, great food. Oh my gosh, and a lot of it.
Great food, and they're great people there. They've taken care of us, and they give us way too much.
Highly recommended.
Yeah. So and then after a good lunch and stuffing ourselves, we came back around the lake, and this is the first stop. We're literally, Stanfield Cut is right there. You can see it, and we'll show it on a little drone video. But the beaches they aren't full, but there are plenty of people out enjoying the water.
Family activity everywhere.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's very nice.
I'm getting a kick out of the chocolate lab over here.
Yeah, swimming in the water, swimming in the lake, which
Just
is
begging
nice.
somebody to throw a stick.
Lots of people fishing, just enjoying a beautiful day.
Yep. Good luck today.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
No pressure. I saw someone pull a net full of fish out earlier, so they're biting. Just saying. Good luck.
So just a postcard perfect day.
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't ask for better weather.
Yep.
A little bit of a breeze kicking up.
Well, even where we're at here, Mo, they're allowing us. We wasn't supposed to park.
Yeah.
And they gave us, hey, go ahead, do it. You'll be out of here in no time.
Yeah, they deserve a big thank you to the rangers, the park police that were there, and we just pulled up. They had us set our bikes to the side so we could unload the gear. We're parked illegally.
Go
So,
figure,
yeah,
right?
not to advertise it, but anything.
The
but
first time that's ever happened.
Yes. But they were very cool. So the next part of the ride, I will just give a little precursor here. We're going to follow the lake on the north side and then go through Fawnskin.
Nice.
And then end up at a scenic overlook, which I think will be a great way.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then we'll catch a view of the range,
Yep.
which is beautiful as well.
Awesome.
So,
Sweet. Indeed.
so you enjoying the ride out here so far?
Fantastic. I'm loving it. Looking forward to this next stint. Well, I guess
We
we'll be
drug
seeing
you out
again.
of the dealership.
I know.
On Father's Day.
All the opportunities I'm missing back at the shop. No one showed up at the parts department. I could be selling spark plugs right now. But
Yeah.
Instead, you're here
I
riding.
find myself
darn.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're good for something.
Much appreciated. No, it's fantastic.
Well, good.
Good deal. Come
All
on,
right.
and make sure and come on and support these restaurants and that in Big Bear. They go out of the way for you.
Yeah. Good people.
All right. And with that, we will sign off here, and we will check in at the scenic overlook.
See ya.
See ya.
Welcome back to Two Wheels in a Road. And here we are on our final stop at it's Rim of the World Highway, but
Rim
I
of the
think
World
this is
Highway.
called Red Rock Overlook.
Is that what it is?
I think it is. And that view is absolutely phenomenal.
A stunning overlook it is. Yes.
Stunning, and it would be stunning if you took two steps like
Backwards, right?
that way.
Everyone would get a better view if we all took a few steps backwards.
Kind of one of those one-take deals there.
Yeah, it goes back to when we went from audio only to video. We were like, I'm not sure that's an improvement. Right. So, but it's been a fantastic ride. How are you enjoying the lake and the twisties?
You know, it reminds me of why we all live in California, right? Sometimes we question that, but to see all the different beautiful scenery and the changes that we've experienced in a matter of hours is you can't do
Yeah.
that just anywhere.
Yeah, you
Right.
can
It's
go
been
out
phenomenal.
your back door, and in an hour you're up here, and you've got this, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Beautiful deserts, yuccas. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. So when we checked in last, we were on the edge of the lake.
On the
and
edge?
It was beautiful. We had those awesome rangers who let us pack and unpack and
Break the law.
park illegally. And then we had a really nice, I really like the twisties going into Fawnskin.
Yeah.
That's an awesome ride.
It's always crowded. I don't know that I've ever. One time I did get up really early in the morning and went and did that ride, and there was nobody out. And
Wow.
then it was fun.
Yeah.
But almost every other time, there's always traffic. So you just got to chill
Yeah.
and just enjoy the view. And you're going to go 35 miles an hour. There's no going faster.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it to go that way. And if you stay on the north end side of the lake, you miss all the traffic
Right.
going through town on
Right,
the
yeah.
southern side of the
Yeah.
lake.
And there were some lazy S's up there on the north side, which were really enjoyable.
Oh,
like
man.
you said, just take your time and
Yeah.
enjoy them. It was good.
Yeah.
Those type of curves that you feel them when you're in them.
Yeah.
You feel it. Yeah.
Even the Harley's enjoying those curves.
Yeah, you just sit right into it. Yeah, and then we got to the. Did you notice on the dam, they have the line where the old dam is?
Yeah.
They have, and you can see
Oh, I
it.
didn't see
It's
that.
even though it's below water.
Yeah.
In our history episode, when we were talking about it, the old dam's still there and it's underwater.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so kind of cool. Little point of trivia. I'll point it out on the film when we go back and edit. But
Cool.
but then we jumped on the 18, and it was just a nice, again, just tons of twisties. There was traffic, but so what? I mean, it's just
Your traffic, you've got such a view on your left side, the way we were coming heading west.
Yeah.
You really wouldn't want to push it too hard anyway, or you miss the views.
Yeah. Well, as the budget grows, we can shut down traffic for that section next time. And
I like the way
really
this guy
enjoy
thinks.
it.
yeah. Maybe the dealership would kick in that part.
There you go.
Love to.
Yeah, but seriously, there's a reason why they call this rim of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is amazing up here. You walk up to this edge and it's like, wow. That's all I could say was wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a long ways down.
That's a long ways out there.
Yeah.
It's one of those like 3D pictures. Like, is it really there?
The coolest high school I think ever is
I
Rim of
was
the
the,
world.
the Rim of the World High School, which is just up the road here. Imagine going to school there every day.
Oh yeah. Instead of backpacks, they got oxygen tanks.
I think it must have population 1. There's not a home
Yeah.
nearby,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's pretty amazing. So off in the distance is Mount Baldy, which
okay.
we had our first episode was Mount Baldy and Glendora Ridge. So you can kind of gives you a little orientation of where we are. So you
Yeah.
see Mount Baldy off that way, and Gorgonio. The Gorgonio peaks are over there back behind us, and probably way off in the distance there through the haze is Mount San Jacinto.
Okay.
So it kind of gives.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't realize that was Mount Baldy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome, and there is about 10 million people.
Couple airports and a bunch
Yeah.
of people, and
And we can escape can escape. So this is a great ride, well worth it. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. It's nice twisties all the way down, and then a little freeway back, and then we'll check in for our ride recap.
we'll
Yep.
meet you
Back in the studio. Yeah.
Back in the studio.
Back in the studio.
All right, we'll catch you there.
All right.
See ya.
Welcome back to Two Wheels in a Road, and we are back in our studio after a great day, great ride for our Big Bear trip.
Beautiful ride. Yes.
Yeah, and thank you to Mario for coming along with us. We enjoyed the company for sure.
Mario's a
Indeed.
keeper. He's
Yeah.
a keeper.
You can ride with us anytime. We'd be
Well-
privileged to ride with you.
We was talking earlier. I said, I kept looking behind me to see. Okay, I know Cowboy's back there. You're never gonna lose Cowboy. But I look back, see Mario's sitting in my saddlebag.
No, he's getting it done. I was looking at the lean going into some of those corners, just looking for sparks.
Yeah. So this ain't his first rodeo. He been riding before.
Yeah,
I appreciate the opportunity, guys. It was a great day. Great way to spend the day.
Yeah,
I
you were
appreciate
fit.
riding with you, gents.
And speaking of that, I mean, what a day! Could we have asked for anything? We had 10 minutes of wind,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the time it was just great temperatures. Everything was just perfect.
It really was.
Mhm.
It was about as perfect a day. A little bit hazy, like if you some of the views, and you'll see it on the camera. You can't see quite as far, and because it's really on that skyline ridge,
Oh my
the
gosh.
sky rim of the world highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can, when it's clear, you can see
Yeah.
forever, which is pretty phenomenal. Maybe we'll have to take another trip up there and get some video of that.
Well, when
but-
we stopped that last time on the rim of the highway,
Red-
right there,
red-
rim of the world
red-
highway.
Red Rock Overlook or something.
Yeah,
I read
Rock
I read the
Overlook.
plaque there, and it's dedicated to somebody that built the Red Rock thing there. So
Oh, is that
Oh,
what it was?
really?
yeah.
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't read it.
Yeah.
I hadn't been that. You know, when you walk up to the Grand Canyon, it's like, whoa. You know, it's
Yeah.
just breathtaking. And that was almost as much as that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how far I never dreamed. You know, when you drive by it, you see a couple trees or something.
Yeah.
You see a little bit of it. When you walk up to it like that,
It literally
it's
looks like
breathtaking.
it's like a half a mile straight down or something, and then it's green. So
yeah,
yeah,
oh,
if
it's
you
gorgeous.
fell off and splattered, they wouldn't find you for a while.
I'm pretty sure that you'd bounce when you hit that's a long ways down, and that's
Oh,
a steep
man.
drop right behind us where we were standing.
Well, was that last time we were up there at the on S2 and we were looking at that, and you guys said, you know, if you fall there, we're not going to come and get you. And that was like this much compared to this canyon that we just came out of.
Yeah.
It was just green and beautiful.
You know?
Yeah, but we could send the drone down to take video of you.
Insurance company proof. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that.
There he is.
You guys are always thinking of
We got you covered. So it was, I mean, a great ride. Just to recap a little bit, after our last check-in, twisties coming down, traffic. It's always entertaining when you're kind of passing cars on the curves around the twisties, kind of highway speeds. Because down there, it kind of opens up a little
Yep.
where it's not super tight and it's 2 lanes. So that when you can reach out and touch the car that's next to you, that gives you a whole different sense of.
and you're wondering what kind of skill the car has,
Yeah.
because if he
Right.
wiggles once, he's in your lane and you're smooshed.
Yeah.
Well,
and-
remember the saying there: best way to get somebody to speed up, try to pass them.
Try to
Well,
pass him.
yeah.
Yeah, and naturally they decide to. It just seems like a natural thing. They want to go a little faster. It's like not now.
There's a couple of
Yeah.
those tight left and rights. I'm going, please don't there be a road snake here somewhere.
Yeah,
Don't
you know.
lose grip.
or they're not, you look over and they're looking at their cell phone.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Hopefully not
over.
on that road, man.
Right.
You
Yeah.
Oh,
look away
man.
for just a second, and
That's another episode.
we're getting the drone out for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we got down, and I will admit that the reason we ended up on the 215 all the way to the 15 is because I missed the turn.
Oh really? I
Yeah.
thought that was supposed
Well,
to
no,
be.
but-
Oh yeah,
I-
you started to turn and then he went straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought we were going straight.
Well, the car in front of me was irritating me, and I'm sure nobody in this circle could identify with that. But I swerved to the left to get around it, and then just hit my throttle. And by then, I was like, "Oh wait, that was where I was supposed to go."
Yeah.
So,
But it
So-
worked. It worked out.
it worked.
And
out.
when you jumped on the 15 was a good call.
The 15, and
Yeah.
then ending up on the 15, and those toll roads.
Yes.
Oh man,
Are
they're great.
phenomenal.
God.
Tell us about the toll roads.
Yeah, we talked earlier about what's your favorite part of the ride, and when I got here, when we finished the ride, that by far is my favorite road on
My
this
new
ride.
favorite road.
'Cause we passed, there were cars lined up for miles, right? You saw
Yes.
91 was just bumper to bumper, and it's hot out there. It's not super hot,
were
but
flying.
uncomfortably hot.
Yeah.
And this was like a time machine. We had the entire place to ourselves, just cruising it, not at legal freeway speeds, whatever.
Legal-ish.
Yeah.
Just cruising along, having a great old time, and it was
Yep.
it was phenomenal. So
Yeah.
great navigation, intentional or otherwise.
Yeah, it
That
was
was-
good.
that was
Good
awesome.
job.
Yeah, so it ended up, and I mean, really, in an hour, we were hour and 10
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
I
we
mean,
were back.
Big
which
bear to
is-
hear.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
And it just got cooler and cooler.
Yeah,
The
didn't
faster
it?
we'd go, the cooler it'd get.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
just, it
Like
couldn't have
air
been a better
conditioning.
ending. Like you say, the perfect day.
Yeah.
Everything
Yes.
really just worked out
Yeah.
ideally today.
Yeah.
Great scenery, great rides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's one of the things that I've always thought is working at a dealership, the weekends you can't go ride. It's like, and that to me is so ingrained in me. Every single weekend, it's like time to ride, time
Saddle
to
up.
ride.
Yep.
Yeah, that's got to be hard.
It is. I mean, in my previous lives, I did spend a lot of time just riding. Usually on my own, I'd get a Monday off and just go.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of exploring. But nowadays, life's different. I work on Saturday. I have a wife who's off Sunday, so that's our family day. She's not much of an enthusiast. So in the Monday household chores, we bought a house 3 years ago. So
Oh yeah.
I still got 7 years worth of projects I
honeydew.
got to get to. So thank goodness I have a 27-mile commute, to and from work. So I do 55 miles a day riding.
That helps.
That-
I mean, it's
that
just
helps.
lane splitting, but it's still
Enough to get your
Yeah.
feet up.
legalish 90, and I have a
Yeah.
great time doing it. But
Yeah.
to your point, I don't get to do the big bears or the
Well, you're always
Joshua
welcome to come
trees
with
as
us.
often as I'd really like to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to break this to you, but it's not just 7 years of chores. It's
Yeah.
going to be longer.
Well,
Let
the
me
house
just
will
tell
be
you.
done in 7, and then we'll probably sell and get another one.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
start the cycle. Yeah.
I'd like to think there's a finish line.
A lifetime of chores, a lifetime of on that honeydew list. I've discovered the honeydew list has no end.
Yeah.
When you think it is, your cactus faints
It's
in
alive.
the yard.
Huh?
Yeah, that's
And I
right.
can't push it all on her. It's actually my stuff. It's like I know what I want. I want my built-in barbecue pit with the kegerator and the
Oh,
awning, and I want the
yeah.
hot tub, and I
All right,
want the
well,
fire
let's-
pit.
That
Boy.
sounds like
So
a
it's-
ride in an
uh,
episode there.
Yeah, right.
I
So
think we
book
need
it 7 years from today. Off to Whittier we go to see the finished
Season
product.
8.
We'll be taking our trikes up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. It sounds great. Sounds great. So, all right. At this point, what we typically do is we go around and pick our favorite route. So, from today, what road or segment or part of the ride was your favorite, Mario?
I'm going to cheat, and I'll try to be quick about it.
Okay.
My favorite scenery was what we talked about earlier, which was the area around Pioneer Town. The desert, the rock formations.
nice.
It's like
Oh,
Joshua
yeah,
Tree
yeah.
without all the Joshua trees.
You said
That was
that's
beautiful
kind of
to
where
me.
your roots are.
It's this desert, and the desert
Desert.
beauty is unique, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
it just puts me at peace. So that was my most scenic. That was the
Yeah.
part I appreciated the most in terms of scenery. The best road was after the rim of the
Yeah.
world. You can't, like you say, you can't beat that. Almost feels like you're racing. We're just having fun,
Yeah.
just leaning into the corners, and like
Yeah.
you say, you reach over, touch a bike, touch a car,
Yep.
smiling ear to ear. That was amazing. But I think my favorite part of the day is, seeing such beautiful roads and just nature and camaraderie and all that. It gives you time to reflect, just reflect in general. And in reflecting on the day and it being Father's Day, it just put me in a spirit of gratitude. So I was very grateful all day, and I'm grateful for all the roads that we have taken or I've taken in my life and the ones that I'm going to take.
Yep.
So that was the favorite part of the day, was just the feeling I have right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good, man.
That's,
Oh, wow.
that's awesome. Wow.
Dang. All right, close it up.
I
Next,
know.
We're good.
Who
It's a
can-
wrap.
Okay, Wayne, follow that.
All right.
Yeah, and my turn, right? And mine was a love-hate thing. Those switchbacks. Oh my gosh. But it's I like to be challenged on the bike.
Yeah.
And those
Interesting.
switchbacks, oh my gosh.
Is that coming up to the cement plant area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it that
Yeah.
Mitsubishi
Yeah.
cement plant when we come up that, especially the last one, when I went to make my turn and I'm looking up and I could see all of Mo up.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, his bike and everything. It wasn't only a switchback, but it was uphill,
Yeah.
instant. But I still like it.
Yeah.
It challenges you.
Yeah.
And
Uphill,
I
hard
wanna-
rights, first gear. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and these bikes nowadays are phenomenal. I mean, we ride. We spend all day going 80, 90 on our Harleys, or 80, whatever the
Ish.
ish, whatever. And they don't hiccup anymore. The days of the Harleys that leak oil and all that's so far gone. These bikes are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And especially they pull like tractors. You know, when we were going up
they
there,
do.
Cowboy, didn't you say you were in second gear?
I hung
chugging
in
one?
second gear, but it pulled its way out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these things are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wayne,
Yeah.
you said something that's resonated with me just now, is that you hated it, but it challenged you. And I felt the same thing. I didn't love it until you mentioned that,
You know.
because I didn't enjoy it at all either. I hate those tight. They're so awkward, and I'm not good at them.
Well, and not only
But
that,
you're
though,
right.
you got
We're not
oncoming.
challenged often anymore, so
Yep.
that's actually something to embrace.
Well, you got traffic coming down, so you can't
Yeah.
you can't go wide on them. You have to
Oh,
stay.
yeah.
You know, it tests your skills,
Mhm.
and you know, of course, being instructors and stuff. That's why we like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure, love hate. Great. Well
It's
said.
a love-hate thing.
Hate to love it, but love to hate it.
Yeah. and I wouldn't miss it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
It is.
All right. Cowboy.
Oh, let's see. I don't, guys. That rim of the world is just. I'll always pick that. It's so. I'm kind of a mountain guy
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
you know, and I love being up there and looking across the valley and that, and looking, you know, my opportunity to look down on all the folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the view is just incredible, and I'll take that every time I can.
I can understand. Well, it stops you in your tracks. You know, when we walked up to that edge, it's like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
I didn't expect. You know,
It's-
like I say,
yeah.
it's like that 3D picture. Can you put your hand in it, or can you
Yeah.
touch it? You know,
Yeah.
It's
it's
hard
just-
to believe that you're actually looking at it. Yeah.
It's such a bipolar world because you're up there in the peace and tranquility, and between where you're at and the bottom, it's just, you know, that's Mother Nature. She
Yeah.
owns that bitch. And then the humans come in at the bottom on out, and so it's a kind of a bipolar thing, and it's just it's just I just enjoy it, the yin and the yang of it all.
yeah. And haven't we said that before about? I think it was Mount Baldy, where you're an hour out of hundreds of thousands of people, and then all of a sudden you're out in the middle of nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
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 So
Although with Big Bear, so that was really true when we were like Glendora Ridge, and you could stand up there, and really there were times where we were alone.
Yes.
Here at Big Bear, there's constant stream of traffic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's
There is.
well, what's the other side? The Lucerne Valley. Where was that? Remember where?
so Lucerne. That ends up being like Apple Valley and
Okay.
all that
Well,
Hesperia.
there was a whole lot of nothing out there too.
That turns
True.
into back what Mario was
Yeah,
mentioned as
back
part
in
of his favorite, that
Yeah.
kind of desertish stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris?
So because I'm a history buff, well, I mean, the most beautiful obviously is Rim of the World.
Right.
But the thing I found the most interesting about this ride is, and because I got so excited about the history, is going out there where that town of Double, and there is nothing.
and Beard.
and
Beardstown.
Beardstown,
Nailed
yeah.
it.
Beardstown, yeah.
And there is nothing left.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes you the whole introspective. Yeah, you're thinking while you're riding, and it really sunk in to me is the history of that place and what it is today and what's booming, and the boom and bust that have happened in the past.
Right.
And we aren't all that far from where what today is a booming civilization, and next thing you know, it's an empty field with a bunch of trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I
that's
just
humbling.
it's a pretty spot, but it's not the most beautiful spot when, you know, and now there's just a few ruins. And so I thought that was the whole thing up there. I learned so much about Big Bear.
What was that street that we was talking? Starvation Avenue or
Starvation Flats.
Starvation? Yeah,
Yeah,
Starvation
that's
Flats.
because that's what they called that area around where Stanfield Cut is, because all the miners were starving. And that's when Grizzly Holcomb, right?
Yep.
Holcomb Valley.
Yes. Yes.
He went out to hunt bears to feed the starving miners,
Wow.
and that's
It's
when he
all
found
coming
gold.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
it was interesting. So that was just because I'm kind of a
The history. Yeah.
history geek. So
Yeah.
But even there though, I mean, we pulled off and I think one thing we forgot to mention was the Pacific Coast Trail went right right?
Oh, yeah.
We rode over the
That's
top
true.
of it, I think. For a
It crossed right over the road.
Yeah.
Right where we were on Holcomb
So-
Ranch Road, I think it
I
is called.
think so. Yeah, and then the old mine up on top of the hill, and that. I mean, yeah, just so much history. I'd have loved to have been up there and kind of just walk through all the scrap pile from that old mine.
Oh, see
I'll,
what
Yeah.
I'll bet there's all kind of cool stuff up there.
Oh, probably. Well, it was a great day. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate, and I'm not just saying this, but we really appreciate the dealership.
We do.
You guys,
Yep.
and
Got a
I
great
know
team. Great team.
the management team, yourself, you've made it almost home-like. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad every Friday we go there for happy hour, and you guys like put up with us.
It's great energy. I love having you guys out there. I wish I was out there with you, and not that we're always busy, but somehow I'm just, goddamn, I want to get out there. Next thing you know, it's 7:30 or 6 or whatever, and I don't make it out. But I love having you guys there. You guys bring great energy. You embody who we want to be, or who we want to cater to, or who we want our family to be. You know, you're good to each other. You enjoy the ride for what it is, you know, and what it can be.
Yep.
No pretense. You're welcoming. You embrace all that's good about the sport. So
Yep.
yeah, you can hang around as often as you guys want.
Hey,
But
well,
you can never
thank
have enough
you.
of that.
Well, I think we will, by golly.
Oh, boy.
If Harley goes out of business, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
We've all bought enough
Well,
Harleys, and
If you buy more bikes, you know, don't put 100,000 miles on them. Just every year, rotate them. That'd be perfect.
Oh.
I appreciate that.
There.
That sounds like that's painful.
I don't
Wait.
think. Oh no, but Cowboy, you don't have 100,000 on your bike yet, do you?
I'm Tuesday. It's going in for 15,000 service.
Already. Wow,
Wow,
isn't that
wow.
something?
Okay.
And Mo, you have 100 and what?
142.
Yeah, and I'm at
And
110 on mine. So.
By
See?
next week, it'll be 145.
So it is your fault. If they go.
Well, they're making them good now. So
No, you guys are
Right.
the exception. The average rider, they say, puts on 3,000 miles a year. You know, that's why there's
Oh,
this,
No
really?
kidding.
There's like they call it flex financing, which is essentially a lease, but it's not really a lease because you own it. And the allowance they give for people who participate in this program is 3,000 miles a year, because that's the average
Wow.
mileage that
Wow.
a new rider or new bike buyer will put on a bike in a year. So
Oh my
I do that
you
a
are
month.
absolutely not the
Yeah.
norm.
yeah, we say 3,000. We can do that. Oh shoot, we can do that. In less than-
That's what I average. I average 35 a year.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
there you go.
about 3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea that's what.
Isn't that
yeah,
crazy?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Well, when we all did that Hoka Hay in Florida, we did what 17,000 miles in
Yeah,
20 days.
in 20 days.
So,
Yeah. But like Chris said, for me, you guys,
Yeah.
outstanding, awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for participating with us, and thanks for being there for us down at the dealership. I mean, seriously, I walked in on you guys had the party going on.
Mhm.
I walk in and say, I'm sorry to bother you guys, but you think I could get in Tuesday for an oil change? Yep. Boom, boom, done. See you Tuesday.
Sweet.
I mean, no pushback, no push off. Well, give us 2 days. No, nothing. Just right there, right now. God bless you, man. That's such a nice dealership
Awesome.
to work with.
We will probably never be perfect, but we will always do our best.
And
Yeah.
that's all guy
Well,
can
That's all
ask.
we can do. So
well put. Well put.
Yep. So
and
thank
a
you.
manager that rides.
Yeah, I know,
And
which
that-
is
That's
great.
huge.
odd to think that that's not the norm from what I'm hearing.
Well, and not that we've met all the GMs around, but the ones I have met,
Yeah.
that hasn't been a common quality.
know.
So it's good to have you out, and it's always good to hang out with you. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a
We
pleasure, guys. It really
appreciate
has.
All right.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Anytime you need a fourth, let me know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And with that, we'll be back with some notes from the road. Welcome back to my notes from the road. I love riding in the mountains. The mountains are special, always on the horizon. If you live near them, they become a constant companion. You may not sit and stare at them all day, but they're always there, and they're the first thing you miss when you go away. The mountains also never seem to change, or rather, they change so slowly and gradually that it's almost invisible to see in our own short lives. I always think about how the mountains that we see today, off in the distance, look exactly the same as when the first Spanish explorers came here over 400 years ago. Mountains have their own concept of time. Changes that you might see from a distance are measured in thousands, if not millions of years. However, like a lot of things, details come into view as you move closer. Begin to climb the mountains, and suddenly you're confronted with hidden valleys, lakes, rivers, and streams that you never would imagine and couldn't see when looking from a distance. A whole world exists, hidden behind that far-off, majestic view. As John Muir so simply said, "Whenever you go in the mountains, we find more than we seek." While mountains' age is measured in millennia, our lives seem to boil down to months, weeks, days, and hours. Each week, a blur of necessary activity, running from chore to job to home and back again in a never-ending race, and each week the race begins again, almost with no end in sight. Always chasing some goal to improve our lives, it would be easy to get lost in this cycle. But in the back of my mind, I'm always aware of Socrates and his saying, "Beware the barrenness of a busy life." That is where riding comes in. Many of us have the luxury and make the choice to step away from the rat race, to step out the door and spend some time on the road, with friends, having good times, exploring and making memories. A gift of time to ourselves to reflect and renew our spirits. Today's ride was on Father's Day, a day where we take the time to thank those who, through their example, showed us how to live in the world. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is time. Time to spend doing something you love. So on this day, honoring fathers, our own families gave us the gift of time, and we used it to go to a place that is almost timeless. We put down the list of chores, hugged our loved ones, and headed to the mountains. It's not surprising that along the way we found a little more than we were looking for. Life ebbed and flowed in hidden eddies in these mountains. Over the last 200 years, they've seen towns come and go, had businesses boom and bust, and our forefathers struggled, faced challenges, survived hardships, or in some cases gave up in defeat. Standing on the rim of the world, we found ourselves in awe of the beauty and humbled with gratitude. Gratitude to our forefathers. On this Father's Day, we are thankful for the men who had walked before us and from their own hard work, foresight, and devotion created the world we see today. To all fathers who care for their families and work every day to help change the world, happy Father's Day. Have a safe ride this weekend, and we'll see you next time on Two Wheels and a Road.
Come on, guys, let's ride.